Antigone, you daughter of the old blind man, what region have we come to, or to what men's city? Who do you think will, on the present day, make welcome Oedipus, the man who roams about from place to place?
That's how our play opens, and with a little patience we'll get to what happens next. I am Dr. Iona Hine from the University of Sheffield, and in this introductory chapter I'll provide a little information about what's to come should you choose to listen on and make Oedipus welcome. Oedipus at Colonus was the last work of the Greek playwright Sophocles, and completed a trilogy of plays based on the life and legacy of Oedipus and his offspring. Since its first recorded staging in ancient Athens, under the direction of Sophocles' grandson, it has been rewritten as a gospel musical, staged in a mock-up hospital ward, and translated by Yeats, Gilbert Murray, Ruby Blondell, and dozens more besides. The version you are about to hear was translated into English by Heinrich Walter Cassirer, a classicist, philosopher, and self-taught biblical scholar. The translation is the last of Cassirer's works, completed in 1978, a year before his death. It would have spoken powerfully to him, as a person forced into a life of exile, and an intellectual who spent much time thinking about the parameters of human freedom. Among the most famed facts concerning Oedipus, if one can speak of fact when dealing with a mythical character, is that he married his own mother. As the play emphasises, this was a fateful scenario, neither party knowing the other's identity. Dreadful events had begun already when Oedipus first killed his father. Both happenings had been forecast at Oedipus' birth, and it was because his parents cast out their baby son in horror that he could return to Thebes as an unknown adult, and so much chaos would ensue. In this play, you will hear Oedipus and others discuss accusations of incest. You will also hear an abduction and multiple allusions to the threat of sexual violence. You will hear allegations touching on race and gender, and discrimination that amounts to ableism. The play also refers repeatedly to forced migration and exile, as experienced by Oedipus and his kin. There's little sensational in how such material is handled, and it may be that the slight archaisms of Cassirer's text make the content feel less direct. If those are mitigations, the subject matter may still cause discomfort to the listener, and could trigger recollection of past trauma. I hope that this warning means you are sufficiently prepared to decide whether to continue listening. Publication of Cassirer's script and this recording have been financed as part of a University of Sheffield project exploring Cassirer's legacy. The main funder, Ronald Wiseman, once hoped Cassirer's Oedipus might form the basis of an operatic libretto. In digitising it during the COVID-19 lockdown, our South Yorkshire cast have at least sought to give vocal life to the words Cassirer set down. The recording work was done remotely, with each cast member reading and recording lines in isolation. This labour was supported by the University Theatre Studies team, especially Ellie Pickersgill, who undertook the gargantuan task of knitting the lines together. The cast is formed of actors, professional and amateur, of whom most had already committed their time to a production of Sophocles' play, using Robert Fagel's translation, under the direction of Eric Bohan. The curtains of Sheffield's Theatre Deli should have risen upon that performance in April 2020, but COVID intervened, theatres closed, and cast members kindly agreed to the challenge of recording Cassirer's text while awaiting the pandemic's demise. To fulfil this task, they were asked to focus on reading rather than performance, and to work with minimal preparation, limited equipment, and, if agreeable, a towel over their head to reduce background noise. It should be no surprise if the circumstances of recording can be detected in the final product. One unusual feature of this production is a one-voice chorus. In Fagel's translation, the chorus lines are laid out as a kind of call and response between a leader and fellow citizens. In the original Greek, the chorus speaks as both we and sometimes I, speech that is individual.
If you will take any account of what I have spoken,
and yet representing shared opinion.
And as for ourselves, it satisfies us wholly if the rulers of the land are fully informed.
In the present
about
case,
this matter.
the decision to stick with one voice was made for very practical reasons. It eased the process of recording and editing lines together. And it was done with the thought that with Cassirer's script freely available online, you may choose to read along, and yourself become a part of that chorus, immersed in a crowd of Colonus's senior citizens, guardians of Oedipus's resting place. Original artwork has been designed by Rachel McNiven of 77 Creations. There is a chance to hear more about this process, and to learn how working with two different translations influenced the cast as part of a panel event at the university's Festival of the Mind in September 2020. We are grateful to the festival team for bringing this work to a wider audience. And so, on behalf of all of those involved with this project, I warmly invite you to welcome Oedipus.